Greetings! Today I'm installing my self-made wiring harness that will allow me to add this second boot light in my Focus RS. So here you can see I waited until night time to get maximum effect, and you can see on this side we have a nice bright light, but then over on this side we have literally nothing, and if we go under here we can see all we have is literally just a hole, just a blank, where Ford decided they weren't going to bother to put a light on that side. I think it happened sometime in 2017 whenever they made that decision. I'm assuming it was cost saving on the bulbs, the housings and the wiring loom. But yeah, you can see the difference. Very bright over here and not very bright over here, and obviously if we have something set here, it kind of blocks the light, so then that makes this area completely dark, which is kind of a bit useless. So that is the whole point of why we are doing this video, to get a light like that over here so that we have light everywhere. Alright, so before we get to the actual harness itself, we need to take some stuff out of here, so we're going to start with the boot tray. So super simple, just lift the tab and pull it out here. Alright, now that we have the tray out, that leaves us with this foam insert which has a bunch of stuff in it, including the subwoofer. So we're going to go for the subwoofer next. So first thing we can do is disconnect the wiring for it. So we just push this little tab and then just wiggle that off, so that releases that. Now we need to twist this like retaining thing which holds it in place, so just screw out like that. Alright, now our subwoofer should just lift out of here, like so. Right, at this point your options are, you can drop the two rear seats and just sort of push this onto it, or you can fully remove it. You can try fully removing it in one piece, or you can see that it's got this line along it. It comes out in 2 bits if you wish it to, like you see, like that. So I think that's what we're going to do, especially since I'm holding a camera and I only have one hand to play with. Move that wiring harness out of the way. Out it come. Alright, so as you can see, now we have our completely empty boot. Just want to say how very similar my wiring harness looks to this OEM harness, the way that it's wrapped with the same kind of tape and stuff, are very nice. Next thing then is to remove this plastic trim piece. So the first part of removing this is to remove 4 little plastic clips which are around here. So 1, 2, and then the same over on this side. So they should be fairly easy to get off. I'm going to use this trim tool, just get in here and carefully pry it out. So just to give you a closer look at these clips, they just have little like plastic ridges along the side, which is what's holding them in. So you just need to give them a bit of a yank and they will come right out. Okay, now there are 4 more clips, but they're underneath this plastic bit, so I believe they're around about here, here, and then the same on this side here and here approximately. So what we need to do is we need to kind of get a good grip on the plastic thing. So I'm gonna like put one hand around, get a grip on this side, and then also then I'm gonna like get somewhere here in the middle, maybe like this or something, and just give this a yank directly upwards. They're like a little metal clip and they just sit sort of directly here and they clip on vertically. So to get them out, it's up vertically as best we can. So do one side, then do the other side, and hopefully nothing will go wrong. Hopefully the clips don't fall off or whatever, and everything will go smooth. Off. Carefully remove. Alright, so you can kind of get a better idea of these clip things that I was talking about now that it's out and we can actually see what's going on. So you can see that they're like little metal things that like they sort of compress at the sides, and then they're sort of attached to the plastic like tabs just of the trim piece that we took out. But as you can see, 1, 2 and 3 came out no problem, but this one the actual metal bit stayed in the car. So if we jump over here, we can see that these ones that came out nice, it's just these rectangular holes that they go into and sort of grip onto the sides of. But this one has remained in the car. We will need to get that out. You can sort of see this little tab right here that's touching and holding onto the metal, and the same on the other side. Those we need to like pinch with some pliers, but whenever we're doing that, we need to be super careful, because if we do that, we risk dropping this metal thing down into no man's land basically, which would be not so great. So what we're going to do is just be really careful, hold it, and then pinch those and bring it up and out of there at the same time. Just to be super duper safe, I've wrapped a bit of wire through the middle of the clip, just in case I should happen to lose grip with my fingers. I know that I've got this, I can just remove it from the hole again. So I just really do not want to drop it into no man's land, because you can sort of see that it would be mega difficult to get that out of no man's land if it drops. Tying it up like this, I didn't even need to use pliers. I literally just pinched it and lifted it out. Alright, now we can simply just reseat this onto the plastic bit. Alright, we're almost ready to start routing our wire to get that light up in our hole. So what we need to do next is remove the little fabric doors. So there are two that are like that one, which are the little doors. Behind that is the clip that holds the rear lighting housing in place. And then we have this one down here, underneath which is some fuses and stuff. So these are pretty simple. You just sort of grip it, push it, and it comes right out like that. So we'll do that on both sides, like so. This one, same sort of business. You can see all their fuses there. Alright, we're pretty much ready to get the loom in play now. So you can see that taking out the plastics down here has revealed this nice gap underneath the carpety thing. So that links up to that hole where we just took the little door off, and then above that you can see we're going to go there, and then that links all the way to our hole that we were going to put our new light into. So we're going to start by feeding our loom through there, working it as best we can along there, then dropping it down, grabbing it, dropping it down, grabbing it, right along the bottom, and then in through the hole on the other side in the carpety filthy thing. Then if we need to use that hole, there's a bit of a gap there that we can just feed up through, and then up to there, then up to there where you see that other wire, and then along there we get to our stock light. So that's kind of the idea, so let's get it done. So unraveling our loom a bit, we see we've got one end with two plugs and the other end with just one plug. So the two ends are the ones that have to go up towards our original light, and the one end is what goes up in towards our hole. So if we're starting to feed the loom through here, we're going to feed the one with the two ends through so that it makes its way all the way around to the other side. Sweet, so that's the first part complete. We've got our one end here, we've got it right up there. It was pretty easy actually to get it down here, and you can see, get a bit of light on the situation, you can see we're coming out our hole down there, and we've got our rest of our loom to feed up the other side. Alright, happy days. We have our wiring harness in through that hole, up all the way through, and we're currently hanging out just here. So, I mean, obviously this side, gravity is working against us. We're trying to put it up as opposed to just on that side where we dropped it down. So what I ended up doing was, whenever I was feeding it through the hole and trying to get it to come out this little door here, I had like my finger sort of in here and acting as a sort of like a, I don't know, kind of like a bridge almost, just like pushing against my finger and using my finger to guide the wire upwards just until it was far up enough that it was just poking up here, and then I grabbed it and pulled it through. I think this is where the loom tape comes in. The loom tape sort of makes it a little bit sort of stiffer and less likely to sort of flop over whenever you're pushing it upwards. So yes, definitely have loom tape on your harness. It's a good idea. If it is getting the better of you, you can drop something down here and then attach your harness to it and then pull it up through. I think one suggestion is like a coat hanger, or just a piece of wire even that you've got spare. Just drop it down, attach that, and then pull it up through. Either way, you should be able to get that in without too much difficulty. So now what we need to do is we need to pop our stock light housing out and then disconnect, and then we can get everything connected up. So to get our light housing out, it's pretty simple. We just got to use a simple panel tool and just pry from this side, the far side, and it should just pop right out. Like so. And then we can just carefully lift that out. So from here we're going to grip the stock wire, we're going to grip the connection, and we're going to just give it a wee pull, and that will disconnect our stock housing. Now we want to grab the two ends of our new loom and we want to feed them through up from here through our hole where our stock wire is poking out there. Alright, now that we're through, we want to take this one, which looks like the female, and I want to connect that to our stock wire. And then we're going to take the male one and then connect that to the stock housing. Okay, now we can feed the excess back up in through the hole. And then reseat the stock housing, like so. Next thing, we're gonna get our new light in on the other side. All right, this is our new housing, and it comes with this stock bulb, which we don't want. We want to use a nice super duper bright Autobeam replacement, which is exactly what we have in the stock position in the car already. So we very simply just give this a little pull, a wiggle and a pull, and it comes right out. And then we grab our Autobeam and insert. And now we're ready to put this into the car. So other side, dead simple. Just connect this to our housing and click it up in here like the other side. Okay, that looks great. So before we tidy up all of our wires and put all of our stuff back into the boot, what we can do is we can close it and then open it again, and we can hopefully then see both of the lights working. Ta-da! Absolutely beautiful. Right, now that everything is in and working beautifully, we can tidy up our slack on the wiring. So we can see that we have all of the slack over here, and over here it's like pulled fairly tight. So I'm gonna just sort of I can see just about how much there is there. I'm just gonna like shove it through here initially, and then what I will do is I will sort of pull it along and kind of even out so that there's an even amount of slack on that side as there is on this side, just so that it's not just flapping around loads on this side and it's all nice and groovy. And then what we're going to do is we're going to tidy up the loom along the bottom here, because obviously you can see it's just sitting loose. We have a solution to sort of keep that tidy, but we'll get to that in a second. So yeah, pulling it through, evening out the slack. Alright, that is nicely evened up. So now what we're going to do is secure this loose loom here with some of these here little plastic boils. So what we're going to do is I've got 4 of them right here in the middle underneath the latch. From the boot floor, we're going to measure maybe around 2.5 centimeters. We're going to put one here, and then similar idea over this sort of like ridgy bumpy bit. Just going to slap one here, and then the same over on the other side. Before I stick these on, I'm just going to wipe the area with an alcohol wipe, just to make sure it's degreased and gives these a good chance of sticking properly. Okay, now we can get our loom, put it in here, and we just like twist these around each other, and that locks them into place like that. Alright, nice and neat. Now we can fit our little doors back in, so that's these little boils going back into our holes. So that's these 2 on this side and that one over that side. So just match these tabs up and push it in like that. Same down here. Get out of the way. There we go. And over here. Beautiful. Right, now we can get this plastic trim back into place over here. So one thing to note, in order to locate it properly, it's got this like little plastic prong and it's only on one side. So this matches up in the bodywork with this hole right here. So if we just get it in here sort of roughly and then hunker down, we can see that that prong goes into this circular hole, and once it's in there we know that everything is in the right place. And then what we need to do is just push down to get all of our 4 clips back into our 4 rectangular holes. So you can see I've got that located, but I haven't pushed it down. Once we do push this down, we need to get this rubber trim up and over this. It's meant to sit above this, not below it, so that's quite an important step. But yeah, time to push it down. So that was really easy, happy days. You can see that I pushed it down and then I went along and I just pried the rubber trim up over the top of the plastic as it should be all the way along. It's nice and solid now with those clips in place. You can see hopefully we are all the way in. Everything is nice and neat, not fouling on anything, which is great. So now what we need to do to finish this trim bit off is just get our push pins and get those back in. So just locate and push like that. All right. There is like a hole in the bodywork that these locate into, so just wiggle around until you find it and give it a push. Now we're ready to get our foam back in here. So the first thing we should actually do is this wire for the woofer, we need to get that out of the way so that obviously we're not setting the foam on top of it. Little trick is to put it in here, sort of up against the metal of the latch and the plastic, and that will hold that in place. Then we grab our foam and put it in. Alright, we can grab this here back and sort of locate it in this sort of runner area. So make sure that's all the way in there. And grab our other side and fit it together. Okay, So grab our subwoofer. And this sticker here points towards the outside of the car. Just be careful. You don't want to chuck it around. Alright, so now we get our little locking screw thing and put that back in place. I guess don't over tighten it. It wasn't overly tight from factory, so that should be absolutely fine. Get our connector for our subwoofer. Push it in. Clickety click. That does just, it's meant to just sit in that area there, but it sort of doesn't really matter. It doesn't click in or anything, so that's absolutely fine. I'm gonna need 2 hands for the boot tray, so I need to put the camera down, but yeah, really easy. Just set it back in place and then we are installation complete. Excellent, we are installation complete. Looking absolutely awesome and perfect. Happy days. Well, there we go. That is installation complete on the second boot light using our homemade wiring harness. Installation was not too hard, just a few little steps, a little bit fiddly to route the wire up in through that side because we're working against gravity, but nothing too difficult. It looks 100% OEM. It is great. I'm sure it's going to be so useful, especially coming into the winter months when it's so dark outside. But yeah, if you're interested in seeing how to make that harness, check out the video that I will link in the description box below. I'll also put a link up here, I don't know which side it's going to be on, and you can make your own. Well, I hope you like this upgrade, and we have, of course, the upgraded bulb from Autobeam as well, so it looks even better, nice and bright. I hope you like it. I hope you like this video. Please do like, share, and subscribe for more content to come very, very soon. Thank you once again. Goodbye.